Then just to break down some pros and cons of the 2-stroke versus 4-stroke. The 2-stroke is generally lighter, and even though the specs may not show a huge difference in the weight, they feel lighter than the same size 4-stroke. So let's say you got a 250 2-stroke versus 250 4-stroke. The 250 2-stroke is going to feel a little bit lighter because there's less rotating mass in the engine, and when you have a bigger engine or more parts rotating, this makes the bike feel heavier, and it's hard to explain unless you've felt it yourself. This is why a 250 is going to be a lot less exhausting than riding a 450, even if they're within 5 pounds total weight of each other. And the 2-strokes, they tend to lug a little bit better at lower speeds, so you're not as likely to stall or flame out with them. And this is one reason why they are generally picked over the 4-stroke for hard enduro style trail riding or racing. The 4-stroke can be improved with some fuel mapping as well as a flywheel weight, but for some reason the 2-strokes are less prone to stalling. The 2-strokes are also less likely to overheat, which another reason why they tend to be better for hard enduro or tight trails, because the oil is contained in the transmission, where the 2-stroke, it doesn't have a camshaft or valves up in the cylinder head to lubricate and keep cool. So when the transmission oil heats up from using the clutch a lot, that oil isn't going to rotate through the whole engine and heat it up as quickly as a 4-stroke. Probably the biggest disadvantage to 2-stroke is generally more frequent rebuilds, especially if you're on a smaller 2-stroke or you like to rev out the engine a lot. You're going to be rebuilding the top end a little bit more frequently than a 4-stroke. Although, when you do rebuild it, it's going to be a lot easier because there's less parts, and if something does fail, it's going to be cheaper as well. Now for the 4-stroke, you might want to buy it for the reason of having a broader power curve, because modern 4-strokes, they make very good power from mid-range all the way up until almost redline. So even though 2-strokes generally make the same or more peak horsepower as the same size 4-stroke, the 4-stroke has more power at a wider range. So from, let's say, 6,000 to 12,000 RPM, it makes really good power. That's a 6,000 RPM range, while the 2-stroke might only have good power in like 3,000 to 4,000 RPM range. This means you don't have to work as hard to keep it in that RPM range to accelerate as quickly. The 4-stroke tends to have snappier torque. So if you're in the mid-range, it's probably going to have a little bit more torque than a 2-stroke, allowing you to pop the wheel over a log. But if you have good technique and you know how to efficiently use your clutch, that's not that big of a deal. And then 4-strokes, like I mentioned before, can last longer before needing a rebuild. So if you're rebuilding a 2-stroke at 100 hours, you might be able to get 150 or 200 hours on a 4-stroke if you're riding it the same. But the big downfall to 4-strokes is they're heavier feeling and they're a little bit more complex due to the extra moving parts. Now that you know the differences, it's time to choose what is the best enduro bike for your specific needs. Check out this video right here, whether you're looking for hard enduro, you're a short rider, you're looking for a cheap enduro bike, or if you're a beginner. I'm Kelly Fager from Motocross Hideout. Learn more, ride more.